Hi, Jennifer. I'm so glad you're on a Meathead Hippie podcast with all these beautiful Empress humans live on Zoom with us. Uh, I feel like chakras, I'm going to get some head nods. It's been a topic all of you guys want to hear about, I feel, and have for a while, right? So this was perfect timing, not just because we love the ability to bring in more healing elements to Empress, and you are a healer, but also just because the more we can focus on something that is this, the better we all will be, right? So thank you, Jennifer, for being on Meathead Hippie podcast.
Thank you. I'm so excited. We do all need this.
Yeah, you said that the Stephen Farmer podcast was how you kind of got reintroduced to Meathead Hippie, which I love because we, power animals for every day of my life, right? Jana Lee, I saw yours today. So that was so
amazing, like to hear people talking about their power animals and yeah, that was awesome.
It really was. Okay, I'm going to read your bio first because I want you guys all to know how badass Jennifer is. And we will get into the chakra system and what that even means. So Jennifer, I know this will be very uncomfortable for you. Sometimes reading the bio as you're on the other side is sometimes like, oh God. But it's good. It's good because you're just a healer. I just think it's so wonderful. So Jennifer is a Reiki master, AFA astrologer, and CPT, guided and inspiring people to connect with their higher truth and live a life aligned with deep meaning is what she wants for everyone. She has experienced and seen so many transformations through Reiki, and Reiki is what has helped awaken her to a life and path that is so magical and synchronized. Jennifer has been donating time and energy to this passion for the last 4 years. She believes that helping as many people as possible through experience can help her grow to understand our energetic bodies more intimately and to the fullest depths. So Jennifer, this is going to be fun to dig into. Let's just start with what chakras are for somebody that's brand new to them, has no idea what they are. I'm going to just start with that question.
Yes, that's a good place to start. That way everyone knows what we're talking about as we're going through. So in the most basic sense, it's the energy centers that are within us. So we're all made up of energy, and they run down your body like this. And you have one at the crown, and then it ends at the root. And your root chakra is at the tailbone of your base, and it does extend through your legs and feet. And then you have chakras in between. I just kind of want to make sure people can see on here. So right here is your third eye chakra. And then in your neck area is your throat chakra. Then that moves down to your heart chakra, your solar plexus, your sacral, and then ending at the root. And then you have an entire layer of aura on the outside of you that's made up of energy. And this is what we're all connected through, is our energetic system. And our energy body holds our mental, emotional, physical, spiritual needs. And having them be balanced is what the goal is when you're working with your energy. So usually some things they all also vibrate at a frequency. So sometimes something's off, the frequency's off, it's off balance, and whatever that chakra dictates through the mental, emotional, and physical is also going to feel off balance in you. And a lot of people don't know this, so they try working out or doing this, and it's just, they're putting Band-Aids on when the real cause is an energetic. And that's a good place to start. And it's really important that you can be aware of your energy.
Oh my goodness, we have so much we got to get to. That's perfect. Let's start with your intro to chakras and understanding that energy system. What did that story look like for you?
So I was a personal trainer since I was 18, and like doing nutrition, and I had my own business where I would drive to people's homes and train them. And after a while, I'm just like, this is not enough, and I didn't even feel okay with just training them and giving them some advice when I know I could just feel, I didn't know what it was at the time yet, but I could feel there's so much more to this. And I don't feel like I'm doing a service if I just kept going on that path anymore. And so I kind of took time away from that, and I just started to hear about people. I just would run into random people, and they'd be bringing up chakras, and it's not anything I've ever really heard about at that time. And it's just one after another, and I would just become friends with someone that was a Reiki practitioner. I'm like, okay, the universe is calling me to look into this more. And so I went and did my level 1. Of course, I bought a ton of books and was reading a lot, and that's where it all started. And then that just propelled me into a whole journey of spiritual chakras, our energy, and just like our purpose to be here.
I love it. Okay, so let's dig into, we'll go from chakra, root chakra all the way up.
Yeah.
Let's just start with our root chakra. So how would you explain what the root chakra is, what it's connected with? I just want you to, when you think root chakra, when you visualize root chakra within yourself, what does that even look like for you?
So the first thing I think of is definitely physical existence. So our root chakra is what really ties us in to our existence on earth and our physical bodies. And you can think of it like the roots of a tree. It's like what roots you in. And so it's red. It's a good thing to know the colors, because if you have something that's off balance, you can just look at those colors more often and wear them more often, and it can help like vibrate with that chakra. But it's definitely our physical existence, how secure we feel where we're at. The things that like with our tribe, which can be like your immediate family, but also it goes all the way into your ancestors. You're connected through them in the root area. And so it's a really important, that's the first thing you want to make sure is balance, because you're building everything else up from that root chakra.
Yep. And so I don't know, this was kind of, I would love your, to read mine, kind of the feelings that might come up when your root chakra is not in balance, not in flow, like
Yes.
what is not great. And this is actually, I don't know if I ever have said this. I think I said this in the audiobook, but on page 113 of my book, I did kind of a feeling from each one of my chakras, 1 through 7. And I called it the demons you fight. And for root chakra, it was very much, I have no confidence in myself or my abilities. I hate who I am. I feel empty. That was always in my head when I really was in that space, which we all inevitably will get into because we're human. It was like, oh man, but I know that's just my own interpretation and just one layer of my, I'm brand new to this. So I'd love to know those feelings of root chakra that have come up for you and for clients that you work with.
Yes, and that definitely does apply. So like it depends if your root chakra is underactive or overactive, so it's going to look different on that spectrum.
I didn't even know you could have an overactive chakra.
Oh
I
yeah.
was like, the more active, the better.
Someone who like overactive root chakra, like all you care about is maybe your job. You're really like money driven, like you're really into like the physical world, like you buy a lot of things to fulfill your emotions and stuff. That would be like an overactive root. Does that make sense? So you always think of like this is your root, and you can be on like either side of that like spectrum in a way. The only chakra that you can't really have be like overactive is your crown.
That is so fun. I did not know that. So then I'll make sure I ask about each chakra. Is it appropriate?
It's different. So like an underactive root chakra, you might feel totally ungrounded, and that will cause anxiety. You might just always feel anxious. You'll start to have depression. You feel like maybe you don't belong anywhere. You might even feel really uncomfortable in your own body because of that. And it can send you definitely, like if you're living in a place where your basic needs aren't met, it's going to send you into like a fight and flight type mode. It's like you started running from that tiger and you never stopped. And like if you don't get control of that, like you can't build anything else up from there. I mean, no one wants to feel like that all the time. And of course you feel anxious and stressed because of it.
Yeah. And this is what's so important about like especially what's going on right now when we think of how lucky are we? I think that's the best way to say it. How lucky are we that although we do have really big issues, our basic needs are actually being met, right? We have a level of privilege that we can be able to not actually worry about our next meal or paying rent. And in some cases that might be the case. So when that is happening, it's always, especially I noticed with me, if I was like making a big impact PO or making a big risky move with the gym, it was like, I can't get grounded. It's like, no shit, you can't get grounded.
Like, yeah, you're uprooting, like, and you're building a whole new foundation of something.
Right.
Which you do a really good job at doing, but when you're going through it, like, and that's why it helps to be aware of things you can be doing while you're going through something like that.
And almost like preventative. Like if I know I'm going to make a big decision financially, or if I know that I'm going to be close at the end of the month with this big PO and whatever it is, if I know that, then it's like extra time goes there. Like the preventative is perfect what you said, because and that's why it's so great that you're teaching us all this, Jennifer. We need this.
Yeah, we all need this, and it's a constant exploration of learning. I will forever, there'll never be a day I don't learn more.
So I actually have this came up in a meditation the other day, and I think it's because I knew I was talking about this, and so I've been thinking about it quite a bit. Do you feel, I'm just going to go there. Do you feel like chakras have, like, just how we grow and we feel like, yay, us, we had personal growth, but then it's like you have maybe a few days or a week or even a month or a year of that, and then you go through that cycle again, right? We all have been like in these really big.
You're constantly in the flow of a cycle. And it's really nice when you can start to, like, I know where I'm at, like what flow or what cycle I'm about to be going through, because I've just tracked it for so long and I know how that feels. But yeah, there's no place where like that ends. Like you're constantly going to go through that. But like the more you do it, like you don't have to work on things that are so like weigh you down as much. That feels so hard, and it becomes easier as you do it. But anything new you bring into your body, like your mind, your emotions, your existence, you're gonna have to start working that through your system again. So it always can feel like that.
Right. Well, it's so interesting too, because I actually have been thinking about this too, how you have your own, like you grow and you're like, okay, I'm here. But then you look behind you and it's this caveman sketch, right? It's like the caveman all the way to the human. And it's like the human looking back at the caveman being like, you piece of shit, why don't you figure this out faster? You know, we are so hard on ourselves as we grow. And it's like, every time you grow through something, that's this grace topic that I keep thinking about, is like you grow and then you struggle and then you grow and then you struggle. That's what it is in every aspect.
And that's because like just our world in general is about duality and polarities. And so you have to experience both spectrums of that. And that's how you learn what the middle starts to feel like. You know, so you just have to constantly remind yourself, like, you're growing, and that's a beautiful thing. And things will come into your life, and it can be hard. And I think of myself like I'm a seed, and all these things that I feel like I'm being buried in, but I'm a seed, and I grow from it.
Well, I love that you said this, and I think my people here will laugh about the middle, because I have been desperate for the middle, and that's so it's like I think all of us are like, woo, and it's a fight.
We always find our way outside of it at some point, because that's how because it's like there's that middle, and so maybe you were like right here and you experiencing this, you find your way back. Now you go like to more extremes and find your way back, but it's all part of that process. And you have to embrace it, really. You just got to learn to embrace that and see the beauty in that.
Embrace the process, you guys. Embrace the process.
Yeah.
So much easier said than done. And okay, so before we move from root, what is like a word associated negatively with root and then positively? Like one word that might be a good mantra, or something where it's like, oh, I feel this. Maybe I need to focus on this.
A word that would be positive, like a positive word for that would be like, I feel stable. That would be a positive word. One more would also be like certain. I feel like certain of what I'm doing. And then a negative would be like, I feel insecure. And I mean, that's like a really good one for that, because security is a huge thing with your root. There's so many words, but
I think that hits home for so many. If we could, especially when it's like, oh, I feel a little bit doubtful or I'm questioning, it is so nice to have this system. My brain, I'm a questioner, and I need to understand why I feel a certain way. It helps my brain. And I love that you're also an astrologist too, because that also helps my brain. It helps it surrender a little bit more, you know?
It helps you astrology is a great way to explore yourself. All these things are ways to explore yourself, and then you start to realize it's all connected. And then that becomes more beautiful. Like you'll see it in everything, all the same stuff, like just pulling over to the next thing.
Yep. In my book, my mantra for it is excuse me. Just swallowed something. What does that mean? Is my throat chakra?
You're getting ready to speak.
I know.
Your truth.
Oh God, my throat. I am safe in my body. I am safe right here, right now. I am home because I am my own home. Like I think of a turtle, like a turtle shell is like always your own home, no matter where you are, you're protected.
Yeah, that is so important. You have to learn how to have that. You have to realize you have to be able to have that right where you're at. There's nowhere else you can be. It's right now. You have to learn to have that. You know, some people think like once I do this, and that, maybe I'll have that, but you have to have it now or you won't have it then.
The most important one. Oh, okay. So let's move to number 2. the sacral chakra. Let's start with maybe just like go for it. Just talk about the sacral chakra.
So
Tell us.
the sacral chakra is like a few inches below your belly button. It governs like all the organs right there. And it's our need to feel. It's really our connection with other people as well. So sexuality, also creativity though. So that is like our creative center where we start birthing new ideas. And it's easy to think about that and relate it to right where it's at. Like your birth of your creativity, new ideas, or an actual human, whatever it might be. It's a very intimate place. And then the needs for that chakra is to be your creative self.
Sorry, I was muted for too long. For sacral, where is, do you follow human design?
I have looked into it a little bit actually.
So we'll do a workshop. I did a podcast on it, but has anyone here done human design?
That was really interesting because I learned a bit about myself when I did the little bit I did with it.
Yeah.
Interesting stuff.
It's really cool. The one thing I learned is like a high percentage of us, I want to say like 70% of us, maybe more actually, are generators, and their powerhouse is their sacral. And so for me, I'm a generator, which means that like when I am really, especially when I look at adrenal issues, burnout, not seeing all the things I talk about with adrenals, it is always related to the sacral chakra for me, because it's like, I'm just
generate so much there.
Yep.
That's the same for me. And you also generate energy for other people too from there. And so if you are a generator, you do have to be careful that you don't let that all spill out and then you're just fatigued and exhausted.
So what would be a healthy sacral chakra, and what would like someone who has a healthy that chakra, and then what unhealthy?
Like a balanced sacral chakra is you're comfortable with your sexuality. You feel free to be your creative self whenever that, like you feel prompted to do that. You're able to experience joy and intimacy and like feel your emotions because it is associated with the element of water. So very like emotional place too. And then if you have an underactive one, you might be more timid, especially in like personal relationships that are close. You don't know how to act upon your creativity, or maybe you don't even think about what you like to do creatively. It might not even be something that crosses your mind during the day. And then an overactive one is like you might like go from relationship to relationship. That's like something that happens a lot in someone's sacral area that's overactive. Or you actually might have a risk of having addictions because it's the pleasure seeking center. And like with the adrenals and stuff, like your adrenaline rush going up, you might be seeking out things constantly to fulfill that, if that makes sense.
Totally makes sense. Would there be a word that would be associated with it positively? I mean, I always associate, I guess, creativity more with solar plexus, so I'm excited to dig into that. So maybe it is creativity for like the...
Well, it's like the birth. So think of like, that's where it's like brewing and formulating there. And your solar plexus is where you use your will to let that come into existence, if that makes sense.
Yep. Okay. So what would be...
But you're definitely right about that.
Okay. So what would be a good word, not so great word for sacral?
I would say, I think of it like, I think of my sacral as my one's own place. That's just like a nice thing to think about. And just if you put that through your head, it's a good way to be in touch in a good way with your sacral chakra. Thinking you're worthless, or you're you have nothing to like give creatively. I don't know what a right word for that would be.
Undeserving, maybe? Undeserving?
Yeah, that actually would be a really good word. Yeah, whether it's with your own creativity or in a personal relationship.
Yep. Oh, okay. Yep. So number 2. Oh, I know you guys have questions. Please keep writing questions on this because we're going to keep moving up. So let's move to 3, which is solar plexus. I think of a giant sunshine. That's like my visual.
Yes, that's the perfect way, because it's your will, your power, and like in a good place, like you're able to shine that well for yourself and for others. You don't, you try to shine the light and then bring that out. And you're able to be like, have a position where you're a leader in a good way and bring those creative ideas out of you and actually do something with them. So it's definitely your will, your confidence, and all that. That's a healthy solar plexus. And digestive things definitely go on big time here. So that was one of my biggest issues, was my solar plexus. I had a lot of work to do there, and it feels much better now that I've done that. Without, yeah.
That's the same that's what I think is so cool is like, similar story, became a personal trainer and then was like, okay, clearly that's not enough for people to really see what I need. Let's get into nutrition. And then it was like, okay, that's not enough. Let's get into this. Okay, that's not enough, because it is this evolution of growth. But for me, the thing that even got me to that point was just horrible gut issues my whole life. It defined me. That's why I even heard about the word paleo and started like eating bacon. I was like, this is amazing, because my stomach would hurt, and I never understood that. It was like, oh my God.
It's the worst feeling in the world. Like,
it is, but then
it affects your brain, everything. You know that,
yes.
obviously.
Yes. And so and then when you learn, 5 years later, that the gut issues you had were preventing your creativity. I never defined myself as creative before I healed my gut issues. I didn't think I was a creative human. I was like, I'll write poems, but I didn't see myself as creative. And I think all of us, like, connecting that, if you have gut issues, to 5 years later being like, that's my favorite quality about me, is being creative and what I pride myself in. And I never would have thought that. So I think that's so important, is like, it's just a perfect example of no matter what, if we're not taking care of these simple symptoms that we think are normal, we're not going to grow in the way that we're looking for.
It's crazy, and everyone needs to realize that, like, that is your basic human right to be creative, and like, that's something you all deserve to be able to do. And yeah, if your solar plexus is off balance, that's going to affect that a lot. It affects a lot of things, because then you all, like, if your digestion's affected, you're affecting your brain, and it's just the whole thing. It's not a fun place to be in. And then you'll also get a lot of anxiety from that too.
And the coolest thing with the what I find in meditation when I'm doing the solar plexus, it's like you feel gurgle. Like, when your stomach gurgles, that's a really
every time I do a Reiki session, my stomach does that. Every time.
So it's when you get into that parasympathetic state, which I know you guys know, but for anyone that might be listening that don't know, that's the rest and digest. So like, when you meditate and your stomach gurgles, be like, yes, this meditation is working. That's
when mine starts to do that, I'm like, yes, okay, I'm getting there. And I always tell, like, if I'm doing Reiki on somebody, I let them know, like, your stomach, like, don't worry about it. That's going to happen. I don't want that, because it's kind of quiet, I'm like, that's a good sign.
Yep. Totally. And it wouldn't happen if you were stressed, which is the whole point you're meditating and even doing this, is so we can be less stressed. So I love it. Okay. So a word for solar plexus being, or what does it look like when it's underactive and overactive?
So an underactive one is, you might let people walk all over you, take advantage of you. Some people, you'll allow them to take your will from you, and you'll just be submissive to their will. And so you'll constantly just you might be a people pleaser to the extent of expending all your energy and not knowing how to, say no. That's definitely an underactive one. An overactive one is the person on that other side that kind of just overbears someone, or is putting their power onto them and like controlling them. And maybe their ego, they're not confident, they have a really big ego that you might see. So
yep, like a upside down emperor kind of vibe.
Yes, just like that.
Yep.
That's like a beautiful way to explain that.
Yep. For a word of, yes, my solar plexus is like, it's my favorite thing when it wakes me up. Like, that's my favorite thing. It's like, oh my God, I'm going to have a great idea today. That doesn't always happen. So what is a word we can think of, we can say, we can repeat in our head? Mantras are powerful for that reason. You could feel so far away from an active, perfect solar plexus, but that's why we hold on to them and use them.
The solar plexus, a great one is, I am significant.
Oh, I love that.
That's my favorite for that one.
Oh, that's so good. Okay, so and if you are not, I guess if you're feeling insignificant, would that just be the best way to explain the opposite, or the feeling that we need to recognize in order to say that?
Yes.
Insignificance. Yeah. or not even creative and just kind of like floating.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Or yeah, like disempowered.
Yes. Yep. Trying to think of what I had on this one. Yeah, it was an undeserving, but I think it was more like I didn't think my creative ideas had worth. Like it was like an idea, but I didn't feel proud enough to like actually get it to the point where it'd be something real.
Right. And
Hmm.
you feel like it's not enough.
Yep. Okay, let's move to the one that we worked on in our meditation on Tuesday. I hope you guys love that. Let's work on the heart chakra.
Yes.
So
And
go ahead and talk all about it.
the heart chakra is the middle point between your bottom three and then the three above. So you can think of your heart as the connecting point. And so like the three underneath it that we just discussed have a lot more to do with your physical existence. And then the three above your heart is more of like a spiritual, your higher self type chakras. And so the heart's the connecting point for everything. And it's about having love and connection, being able to be compassionate and kind, and it's your right to love and be loved. So it's a very important chakra, and like it takes time to open that up sometimes, for sure.
That's what I want you to talk about, because we both kind of had similar stories. Like this is the one that it took forever to even like get any sort of, I would visualize energy here, but I couldn't really like feel it. I would have to fake it, feeling it.
Right.
I think all of us probably are just that's just kind of what we got to protect ourselves. We protected ourselves for many things and many reasons, and the work is kind of understanding we don't need that armor, right? So we take it off, but that takes so much work. So talk about kind of why that is hard to tap into, or for someone that might be having a hard time with it, where do they even begin?
I think the hardest thing is that we try to lie to ourselves about our actual feelings and emotions. And so when we're working with things that are illusions, like as far as our emotions and feelings go, it's hard to take anything off because you're not being honest with yourself about how you feel. And we all actually know how we can't really actually lie to ourselves. We just try to do that. So the first thing is stop doing that to you and really sit down and just write down, say to yourself, like, this is how I actually feel. Like you're by yourself. You don't have anybody else to worry about in that moment. Like just be with yourself and tell yourself the actual truth of how you feel here.
That's like scary accurate how untruthful we are with ourselves.
That's step number one, because if you're working with things that are untrue, you're not working with the right things then.
Yeah. Oh man. Okay. So overactive heart, underactive heart.
So overactive, like you maybe don't love yourself a lot, but you give tons of love to everybody else, right? But you also might be overly sensitive too. So you take everything really personal, and sometimes things just aren't personal. It's easy to think like something's personal, but most things aren't. Most people don't even mean something personal towards you. We react like sensitively and defensively, and maybe they just were having a really bad day and it had nothing to do with you, So that would be like the overactive part of the heart chakra.
Maybe that's what it was for me. That was me before I got in balance. It was like, I still am very sensitive, but like, oh my God, growing up, it was like, really, Emily, you're this sensitive. It was annoying sensitive. So that kind of makes sense.
Yeah. Because it's like, well, don't you have your moon's in Cancer too, right?
No, actually oh wait, you know what? I don't know. I will find out. I think my rising is Aries, but I don't know my moon. I will let you know.
I think, well, based on the year you were born in the month, I'm almost positive it's Cancer.
Okay. I'm sure it is.
Do some research on that for yourself, because that will explain so much to you about your heart chakra journey that you went through.
Well, let's just say that you're accurate. I think you
and so then an underactive one is you're afraid to let anything in, right? You're afraid to love and get close to people because it scares you. And you might not feel compassion because you're shutting that part of yourself down that needs to be able to breathe and be alive. So yes, that would be the underactive part.
And one of the most beautiful things I see, like once you go through something, and again, I'm very young in this chakra world, right? So like my very baby layers of how far I've gotten into it. But once you kind of get through healing a chakra, you notice it with other people, and seeing people open up and fall in love with things is like the best way for me to see that being really healthy. Like
Yeah.
seeing how in love they are with things, like little things. You know how some people you see in life and you're like, wow, they're like really into that, but they like really are excited about this, or they really
Mhm.
love that. Like that's such a good sign. We all need to get to that point. So
Yeah.
sometimes I push myself to do that when I feel, even if I feel opposite, it's like, okay, be overly aggressive about how much you love this tea. Like, tell me, like,
Mhm.
this tea's so amazing. And then you
For
get
me,
there.
it's like the simplest things too. But I actually get like real life kid excited about like the simplest things. Like
Yes.
there was like a little storm that was about to come through before this started, and I could feel the energy. And I was just like, I love storms so much, and I was just like ecstatic, in love with that.
Yes,
So,
it's good. So what's a word for, oh man, we got to crank through, but we're doing,
oh yeah,
what's a good word for heart? Um, a, a negative, and then we'll do positive.
definitely. We have to go with love. Like the you have the right to be loved and to love. You know, it's a basic need. I mean, I couldn't think of a better word for it.
Yeah.
Like you're worth being loved, and
Yeah.
others loving you as well, and you loving them. Let's see, what would be a insecure
Yeah.
or guarded,
Yeah.
words like that.
Hesitant, maybe.
Hesitant, yes, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, I felt the heart chakra on Tuesday. That was amazing. I can't wait
I
for
did
next
too.
Tuesday.
I felt
Okay,
that a lot.
it was so good. Okay, so let's move to throat.
Yes.
Throat chakra. Talk to me
We're
about.
doing that right now. And then I like to make sure people understand how much it has to do with listening as well, because it is our voice and it's our authentic self, our truth, the way we speak that. And anytime you speak something that's not authentic and true to you, you deny your throat chakra that. And this is what will start to happen when you do. Every time you do that, you'll feel it through your whole energetic body. Every time you have some like intuition come up in like the gut, the solar plexus we were talking about earlier, and you deny that, your gut will start to hurt because you are denying your body's talking to you and you're suppressing it down. And so every time you don't speak your truth, that comes back into your energy field in a not positive way. So if you just speak your truth and you're authentic, that's the best thing you can do. And it does have to do with how you listen to other people speak too, to really take the time and let their words be heard to you.
That is so important. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I love that you said that. So what's an overactive? And then, well, I can imagine actually what an overactive is.
Yes, it's really super.
Overactive and underactive.
Yeah, someone who's constantly talking doesn't really even think about the words they're using or like the weight of the words that they're using, because just a sentence and the words you choose to use can impact someone so much. So they don't take time to do that. And when someone else is talking, they're thinking ahead to maybe what they want to say or something in their life that is relatable. When you just have to sit and listen. Just sit down and listen to someone and what they're saying. Because it's really easy to misunderstand and misinterpret other people's words when you're not actively listening to them. And when you do that, then when you speak to what they said, you can do that in a way that makes a lot more sense and resonates with the words that they were saying.
Yep. And then in underactive, is it shyness? Not shyness,
Yes.
maybe comes off as shyness, or hesitancy as well?
Yeah, it's definitely just feeling like you can't speak how you actually feel to other people. You're afraid to tell your truth and be authentic. And, maybe there's so many things that have piled up in your life that you're not even sure what that is anymore. Or you say something and it's like, I think this is authentic to me, but maybe it's a belief system that was built into you over time from something else. So that's where you have to come back to breaking those things away.
And then moving to, and this is why I love it, because the visual that you said of like the root, the tree, everyone wants to use their voice, but like we're jumping like, 5 steps ahead of like how you actually use your voice as your root. And then it moves up, right?
Yeah.
And then this is kind of like the physical. So then tell us about the third eye.
Yeah. So, and then one other thing is like a thing a person might do when they really are like blocking their root or their throat chakra is they might overeat a lot or put things in their mouth, which literally lodges the energy from coming out. So that's just something to like look for. Like overeating, smoking, anything where you are blocking that.
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, it makes sense when you think about it, but I never would have thought about it.
Yeah, it is crazy. So then and like from your crown, you bring in things and you have to speak them, and also up through your roots. You have two areas where things are coming in
Okay.
that you have to get used to or learn how to be able to speak the truth with that. But the third eye is all about intuition, wisdom, like just being able to follow your gut. That also goes to the third eye as well, because you'll get the insight there, you'll feel it in your gut, and then you have to move through with that as well. It's a place that's less like biased, like you're not looking at dualities as much anymore here. You're just letting those things come through you, because in the crown you have the whole collective of like insights and ideas could be like this when you're really in tune. They'll just like shoot through you. And you're like, how do I even know this? Or like, did I create this from that? And it just comes right to you. And that's just like being in alignment with your intuition, your higher self, and everything going on. And you're able to receive that information. It's like an instant download.
And then the seventh chakra, I'm the most, I think 6th and 7th for sure. Like, what is the 7th? I just kind of like the crown and an egg.
Right. So, and that one's on top of your head. So it's the only chakra that is not within your body, right? So even the third eye is right here between your brows. They're all within you, but the crown's the only one that's actually outside on top of your head. So it's not within your actual body, if that makes sense.
Yep.
And so this crown is the thing that is very similar amongst everyone, because we're all connected through it. We all have access to the information and the intelligence that comes through there. It's just about tuning into those frequencies to be able to let them flow through you, right? So we all have that there. And it's very much like a spiritual connecting with your higher self chakra. And it's the one thing that we all have in common. Like our crown chakras are very similar. You couldn't even have an overactive, you couldn't have an overactive crown chakra at all.
You just grow.
Yeah, it's just constant, exactly.
Yeah.
Constantly grow, change, learn new things, like that's constant in life. But when you be in tune with that, and if your third eye is open and you're willing to, you have to follow your, like, things that just come to you. Don't deny yourself those things. They mean something. And you have to learn to start acting on them. The more you do that, the more things will come to you, and you'll understand what those things mean too.
Yeah.
What that guidance is telling you.
I love this. So let's go back to underactive, overactive, third eye, and then underactive crown.
Yes. So with the third eye, underactive, you might not ever remember your dreams. That's a really big thing. Like if you have a really hard time recalling your dreams, wow, that is a sign of an underactive third eye. Or you feel like when you're going into situations, you don't like, if you walked into a room of people, you don't have any like intuition hit you about what's going around. You feel like, or if when you have intuition, it feels totally out of place, like it wasn't accurate and you weren't in tune with it, right? So that'd be an underactive. And an overactive, it can be fun, but you can't stay there forever, because you're like getting insights everywhere, and then all of a sudden, like your nervous system will be affected, right? And you have to ground yourself again after that. So it's not like the worst thing to have for a minute, because you get a lot. That's my problems. I have to really bring mine back to like, okay, like I'm still a human living in a physical world. Like I have to be able to ground all the stuff and bring it into existence.
You're so in line. I love it. I want all of you guys to have chances to ask questions. So I'm going to just mute myself and then just. I got muted. Please use your throat chakra if you can and ask the question. But just know we're trying to get to as many people, because I know there's going to be lots of questions.
Should I mute too, or you can answer questions too with me?
Oh, I mean, I don't think I'm going to have as much wonderful things to say as you are. Don't you worry. I'll just stay muted over here.
Okay.
Who wants to go first?
I mean, I'll go. I've had a question. But I guess I have a two-part question. Can a chakra feel congested? Or
Yeah.
like, so it's the craziest thing. For the last week, I've been telling my boyfriend all week that my it's not like I have a sore throat, but this feels like congested. I've been asking him to like rub it down. I was like, maybe it's my lymph nodes. Like, And the more you spoke about it, I was like, oh my God, I feel like my boyfriend is Black and my family is very accepting, but like I also have cops in my family. So I feel like there's no way for me to say things without someone attacking me. And so I feel like maybe I don't feel like I can say anything right now. So it's just so crazy that that might be what it is.
What you'll feel like. You will get a sore throat. Your limbs will start to be swollen when you're
Yeah.
feeling you can't express yourself in the way you actually feel.
Is there anything you can do for that other than like, I don't really want to start a war anywhere, but like, is there anything I can do for myself to like kind of cleanse that? Like maybe write it out or speak it to myself or.
You could definitely speak it to yourself and write it out, but then also kind of detach yourself from the need to have to say it to them. If you don't think it's going to make a difference and help the situation, if you can just like step back and be okay with that, like you know it's maybe not the time to say it,
Yeah.
but as long as you say it to yourself, and also don't say something that you don't believe either, though, or don't say things just to please them. You don't necessarily have to say the thing that you think would cause issues, but don't say anything that is untrue either.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Yes, of course. Thank you for your question.
Jessica, I love eucalyptus oil.
Eucalyptus oil?
Yeah, like.
Ooh, I'm gonna look into that.
Like do it with a coconut oil, but that was really helpful recently, and because it's kind of like it's this unclogging. Like when you think of it as a herb, it like unclogs. It like makes you breathe in fresh air, and so that was like. I just like, it stuck. And then I would do that and it would be like, oh, okay, I can like, it like went through a little bit like quicker.
Awesome. Yeah. And I think it's also a little bit of the fear of saying the wrong thing, no matter what I say, you know? So I'm going to look into the eucalyptus oil.
Jennifer, the fear of saying the wrong thing, would that go lower?
That definitely starts all the way down to the root. So there's a lot of things that have to be where you have to be okay. You just say your feelings and you're okay with that, and it doesn't have to be right to somebody else.
Yeah, you're still safe.
Yeah, you're still safe. That's the hard part. If you don't feel safe to actually say something, and that's definitely still starts in the root, like how safe you feel.
So and just kind of, well, if you guys have questions, please go ahead and unmute yourself so I know you want to talk. But I was thinking, like for you, like especially for everyone here, we just took all that information really quickly. There's 7 chakras. How do they like even start visualizing them, playing with them, meditating with them? What was your intro to kind of like integrate it as like a step 1 outside of our Tuesday meditations that we can start doing even like as soon as we hang up from this call?
Definitely, if you haven't read the article and started answering those questions, I think that's a really great place to start. Is you definitely have to start asking questions for each one, because you can sit there and get used to feeling the energy and how that feels, but you still have to get to the root of a lot of the things going on in each chakra, and that's asking like really real questions related to them.
Do you guys know what question she's talking about?
It's
cool. Yeah, those are beautiful. I loved those.
Cool. You have to re-ask yourself questions throughout life because things sometimes change, but that's a good place to start, just to get some things out there and know like what you're kind of working with for each chakra. But then sit and I would start with the color. So just close your eyes, picture the color of that chakra. So like with the root, it's red, and just see what it looks like flowing around you and in the area that it's in. And that will help you get more connected into each chakra too. Yeah. If you kind of want to know what the energy feels like. The root spins usually the slowest.
And you posted that beautiful visual of chakras and the colors in the Facebook group. If you guys missed it, just look for it in the Facebook group, searching Jennifer. Jessica, thanks for saying that. I really appreciate you saying that.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah. All right, who else? Me. Where you at? There you are. Found you.
Yeah.
There you are. Hi. Are you Rusty?
Yes.
Hi, Rusty.
Yeah. So me, it's hard for me to say because I struggle with opening up. But I was in a narcissistic relationship, marriage for several years. So when everything is a mess how do you begin?
Well, that's really tough. And I'm so happy that you are opening up, because this is a really good, that's a great start to that. You begin by opening up and talking about it, because that's a really hard relationship to be in. And you have to really get back to knowing who yourself is without like the manipulation of another person and the things that they put into you that you believed for so long.
Well, and the worst part for me is we have kids and he's doing the same things to my kids. So I'm still like in that. So I'm trying to be grounded. That's one thing I've always struggled with, being grounded, because he did a lot of gaslighting. So it's like, what is my truth? What is for a long time. And I still come back to like, was it really that bad? And then he does something and then it reminds me of that. So I'm just a mess kind of all over.
Well, this is a good place to start. And you have to remember that, every time you go back, it's the same thing. So just maybe write like a note to yourself, like a promise that you can make to yourself, and that work through those questions that I have back there too, because those 7 questions are a lot about uncovering things that aren't true to you and just really thinking about how you feel. So you can write that down so you can look at that and remember what's true to you. And then as you do that, you can be that example for your kids then too.
Yeah. And Rusty, like I always think of it this way, like we cannot, you started this with a quote, Jennifer, on your quote Tuesday, like outside of your body, there is no control. Any illusion of control is bullshit. So, no matter what it is, and I hate hearing that, absolutely. So it's like, okay, if that is what it is and who it is, and, I'm still connected and that's not going anywhere anytime soon. My body, I'm going to just 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, I will hold that sacred space. And that's what's going to carry you through. Every day it gets a little stronger. Every day it gets a little bit more easy to tap into. It's just that space that you have to hold for yourself consistently.
Definitely.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks
for being brave and asking the questions too.
Yeah. Who else? Carrie?
I can ask a question. Okay.
Yay. Go ahead. Good.
Mine's less personal, but just more curious. So if you're working with someone like yourself and you're doing, I don't know, a Reiki session, I guess, per se, what do those look like? Are you talking through a lot of things? Are you sitting with a lot of things, like, or is it more like the meditation, or does it just totally depend on what you need?
It depends on the person you're working with, but like the first time you go to a Reiki session, you're lying down. Sometimes people even fall asleep, and we're using hand placements to get energy moving throughout your body and your chakras and cleansing your aura. So you're usually laying there, and then eventually they'll flip you over and like work on the back of you as well. But it's just a way to get those things moving, get energy cleared out. So in the beginning, you kind of want to go at least like 4 times in a row, and then you can periodically check back in and go to the Reiki practitioner. But they're just really helping get the energy going. And so you have to also keep up with the work yourself too. But it's so relaxing. It feels amazing. You feel really great. And if you can work with that after you leave there, then it's a huge benefit for sure.
That's awesome. Thank you. This is blowing my mind.
I'm so glad you love it. Thank you.
I love, you're just like, you found your thing. I love talking to people that find their thing. It's just amazing because it helps other people find their thing. So I love it. Keep asking, you guys. Is it, especially if it's specific, maybe there's a chakra that resonated, a word that you really do struggle with. Maybe we can spend the next couple minutes having Jennifer talk about more specific ways to work on one chakra that you guys are really like resonating, that's maybe overactive or non-existent. The root. Yep, let's go through the root. I think we should.
Okay, so this is the most important one to really make sure you have balance, because everything does build up from there. And everything that comes in is also, that's how well you can bring it into your actual physical existence. One thing is forgiveness is a huge thing with the root chakra. So if you haven't forgiven a lot of people in your life or yourself, that will really hurt your root chakra. And so that's a good place to start. And I know it's hard for some people, but eventually you just learn to do it and you see the lesson and the growth from those things. Because everything in life is teaching us something and helping us grow. And of course, make sure your basic needs are met. You have to make sure you're in a place where you don't feel like you're constantly worrying about just basic like food, shelter, and everything like that. If you have like a lot of family things can come into the root too. So if you are afraid to do certain things or you feel like you're not pleasing the people in your family, that really will cause an unstable root chakra. And that's where you have to take back the control for yourself there and just do those things and be the example through that. And they will catch up with you eventually there, you know, and they'll see like how happy you are. And then you just, instead of don't be angry, don't lash out against them. That's where you take that control into yourself and react from like a calm place and just do you.
For the forgiveness thing, can we dig into that a little bit more with our 4 minutes left? Of
Yeah.
like, I don't know if, I think it took me a long time to realize that I needed to even forgive myself. Like, that was just like, no, I'm fine. I just move on. And it was like almost this doing addiction didn't even give me a chance to sit. So when I finally started to feel, that's when I started to be like, oh my gosh, now I just feel so bad. Or like, I need to forgive who I was. And we all struggle with it. And I don't think it's talked about enough. So can you explain, like, how would you even unpack that? Because it's not something that happens overnight.
No, it's not at all. So first, figure out what those things are that you haven't forgave yourself for, because it is a hard process. Something I do a lot is I'll go into meditation and go back to maybe one of those times where I need to forgive myself, and I'll imagine myself just hugging that person and saying, it's okay, I forgive you. You can release this. You don't need to carry this with you anymore. And that's been the most powerful thing for me. Just going back, seeing myself and just, it's okay. I forgive you.
Oh, that is so powerful.
Yeah. And then with other people, you just have to remember that by you not forgiving them, it's hurting you. It is always going to hurt you if you can't just forgive them. And you can't move forward from that. So like, it's like attaching an energetic line to that situation and you lose energy through that. If you think about like all these things like that we haven't forgiven, we're attaching our energy to it and it's constantly pulling our energy and draining us.
Makes sense. Yeah. Oh, thank you for that visual. Like we were talking about this. Can you tell us what's happening with the full moon right now or last night and a certain special event that is happening for you today? I want to make sure to talk about that.
Yes, we have the full moon in Sagittarius and it's also a partial lunar eclipse too. So the energy is huge today. But because it's also a full moon, it's all about illuminating truth. So this is a great day if you want to just sit down, like maybe look at the moon, whatever you like gets you in that space, and just ask for everything to be illuminated, all the truth, and let all the stuff that doesn't have to be there anymore be cleansed out. And it's very mutable energy too because it's in Sagittarius. We're opposing Gemini and Venus retrograde right now. So you might have a lot of things like from relationships that will start to pop back up. Great time to forgive those things and just let them go. So work with the mutable energy that allows you to like just be like an alchemist and transform that into something else.
I just want to keep talking to you. So any more questions before I like ramble about some new moon things?
And start setting like on the new moon, I write down intentions and just things I want. And it's just a great way to keep, even if you didn't care about the moon, like phases, it happens twice a month. You know, there's a new moon and a full moon. And yep. I'm so glad I've been doing that for years and I can go back and just look and see. And I'm like, wow, all these things have happened now. And it just feels good. It's just a place where you don't have to do it every day because that can seem like a lot to journal every day. And my journaling is like chaotic anyway. But that's like the one thing that I can, right, exactly. But that's the one thing, like, I'm like, okay, I not only write down new moon intentions, but I'll go look back, you know, on a full moon and see what those things were. And it's just fun. I'm so glad I do that.
Okay, so since one thing I feel like we're not doing a great job at that we just want to get better at is doing these amazing lives. And then I feel like you guys love the content and it's wonderful, but it's like one more step of a processing prompt or like something to marinate on, something to journal about. Do you guys know what I'm saying? Like, what's something that we can take away from this that we can either think about all weekend and share in the Facebook group, or talk about on Tuesday when we have another meditation, something. So what would be, I was just thinking, this just popped in my head, so I don't have an answer to it. What do you think, Jennifer, would be good, since we are in a lunar eclipse in Sagittarius, and I think, and full
Yeah.
moon and
I have
Gemini?
a good thing for this.
Okay.
So because Sagittarius is all about philosophy, higher wisdom, and really like your purpose in a way. Like you get connected to that for that. With the full moon that illuminates the truth, you need to sit down and think about what maybe your purpose is. Like, where do you feel like you have purpose in life? And just let that start flowing out of you. And it might not always just be like one. You have multiple purposes that like will converge and come together to be so much, but just start writing those things down. It's a great time where you can see clearly what that might be and just like connect in with that. Like with the moon, you can imagine like a silver light connecting you to your crown chakra to the moon. I like to sit and do that and just go into meditation and just ask like the truth of my purpose to be illuminated. And just as things start coming into you, write them down, even if they seem irrelevant. It could be like, sometimes like it'll be the randomest things. Like I thought of like mulberries one day. That's like, it could be that random. And then I realized all the stuff it actually meant. So just write it all down.
Yes, always. And one thing I will say before we sign off is there's something about writing it down for you, but I do believe, and this is why we're going to ask this again on Tuesday, I won't forget about what came up for you guys with this, because I think once you learn how to verbalize or like let somebody else see it, there's something really powerful with that.
Yeah, like about being like a witness to that.
Yes. Do you know what that's about? I don't know why that's so significant.
Even if someone witnesses that truth or something you're saying or feeling, like it almost is just like another energetic thing saying like, you know, it's okay, I guess.
Yeah. Oh.
Like I see that, I'm witnessing your truth with whatever that is, which could be different for other people, but you just have someone that's there to witness you do that, and it just solidifies it.
Amplifies it. Like, boom,
amplifies it.
It's in your head and it's in your notebook, but now this is like a thing.
Yes. It makes it like, it just brings it into like life, existence. Not something intangible floating around in the air. Like you can grab it, like, here it is now.
Here it is. Yep. Okay. So I want to see if it comes up for you and it's something you want to write about. I really love that the Facebook group is turning into an empowered powwow, so I can connect with you.
Right. That's perfect. I love that group.
I do too. So that is perfect. And then we will talk about it on Tuesday. Jennifer, thank you. This is so great. I know that this has been needed and asked for, and I love that we have so many more meditations with you on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. the rest of this month.
Yes. There's so much that I want to teach everyone, because there's a lot to it all. But I want to, like, any way that I can in a positive way help you like grow and feel your truth and that like you're in alignment with that. Whatever I can do to help like start that process. I really appreciate it.
She just wants us to succeed. It's amazing.
That's all I want. It's the best thing. The whole world works better when we're doing that.
Gosh, well, we love you. We thank you for your time and your energy. Thank you guys for joining us on a Meathead Hippie podcast.
Yes.
And I will see you, I guess, the next event. So we have platform prep tomorrow at 10 a.m. with Coach Mike, Mountain Time. We have Andrea Yoga on Sundays, Sunday morning at 10 a.m. And then we have our, all regular schedule with our Monday through Friday platform schedule. And then meditations with you, Jennifer, on Tuesdays.
When's the belly dancing class?
Oh my gosh, that's next Friday.
Is it?
Yes, I'm so excited. Are you guys coming to belly dancing? I'm so excited about this.
I'm gonna try to come. This is me working on one of my fears and just like being free to dance around people or whatever. So I got to do the work too all the time.
We're getting wild, you guys. I mean, just so you guys know, nobody's gonna be comfortable belly dancing.
Like, we're all gonna feel like the same exact way.
We'll all be in the same boat.
Right.
Well, I love that we have this month. I know this month has been hard. There's a lot going on, but connection sure does help. So thank you guys for showing up and being with us live. And if you're not live, recorded is great too. We want to hear from you. So I hope to see some purpose posts. And if not, I'll see you guys on Tuesday to talk about it. Big love to all of you.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Jennifer. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, Carrie. Okay, that was beautiful. You can just hit stop recording, and then